My name's Ewan Campbell. I'm the owner of Cambrian Meats, and we've been running the business now for near on 15 years.
How did you get into Cambrian Meats, Ewan?
Well, it's a bit of a long story, but to cut it short, it's like we started to get interested in what was going on the farm about nutrition, and when we started giving the animals different minerals and we got better health in the animals, we'd like to follow it through. And we got to see a major change in the meat quality.
Okay, in what sense?
Well, the meat got a lovely cherry red colour, it was more tender, much nicer to eat, and it changed the fat colour, and at the time meat prices were well down, and the meat companies actually wanted to know, supposedly, you know, how to have better quality product. But the reason that we ended up going out to marketing our own was that we took meat or animals to the meatworks and they put them through the meat processes, and the difference was phenomenal, to say the least. You could tell them coming around the chain and everything was really cool, but they didn't show an interest at all. They couldn't give us stuff about what was going on.
Okay, so it was about you being self-sufficient, going out it alone?
Well, yeah, I mean, I never knew what I was going to bite off, but the reality was if you're going to produce a better product, then you've actually got to up your earnings to keep your farm going. You've got to do something. So we then moved on to try out supplying some butcher shops. And that was reasonably successful, and then we went and bought our own butcher shop and then moved on to our own processing facility in Tauranga.
Okay, so from 15 years ago to today, how have things developed?
Yeah, well, it has been an interesting trial, because I don't think anyone else in New Zealand, and there might be many people in the world, that actually have control of their farms and what they do on the farm to actually see the end product in the processing and then taking it right through to the retailing and restaurants and that.
Yep.
And it's developed dramatically. I mean, our farming systems have changed. We're completely organic now. We look at things on a holistic basis. We keep all the chemicals and everything out of it, and basically that we're always focusing on getting that optimum quality, eating quality, and that's what's missing in the market now. Is there's no traceability back to the farmer. They don't understand why the meat's good or bad, and you know, I don't want mine lumped in with everyone else's.
Okay, with that quality, is it still affordable for the consumer?
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, farming this way is not expensive. The reality is that the costs of production are not any different. Well, they're actually probably cheaper, but the problem is getting it to the market. I mean, we've had to open our own shops, and that's not without cost. And yeah, it's a major cost actually.
Okay, Ewan, tell me about your stores. Where are they located? What stuff do you stock?
Well, we've got two shops. One of them is in Tauranga, where our processing facility is in Birch Ave, and the other one's in Elliott Street in Auckland, just behind Smith & Coe in downtown Auckland. And yeah, basically we've just opened them so that the punters can actually try product that's clean and green, know where it comes from, and get to eat some of the best stuff in New Zealand, if not the world.
Okay. Now your product's been used on TV programs. It's been, you know, well renowned. I mean, what are the success stories that you can elaborate on from Cambrian Meats? Yeah,
we've had some real success stories. I mean, even it goes back to I think it was '96. We won our first major award, the Carter Holt Food Awards, Innovation and Excellence, and we won one with the Cuisine magazine for Innovation and Excellence as well. And yeah, we've supplied restaurants right around the country. I mean, the French Cafe in Auckland, who is always regarded as one of the best restaurants in New Zealand, has been a long-time customer of ours. And basically, I think the biggest challenge that we have is people just don't get to see what's going on the farm and understand what's going on regarding the quality of that product.
Okay, so tell me the process on your farm and how it differentiates to somebody else.
Okay. Well, I don't want to get too scientific, but you know, like, we gloss over everything in farming, and I think we do that in the whole of life, but in farming we realise now that like there's 64 elements to put together DNA structure, which means the soil, the grass, the animals require all of those minerals for nutrition, and so do we as humans. Now, if you do focus on getting all that right, the end result is amazing. I mean, our product quality has improved steadily over the years. We've made some breakthroughs at times where we've seen significant changes from actually getting all that right. It's just like growing fine wine. You've got to find the right climate with the right soils, with the right grapes and the right vintner to get the excellent result. You know?
Okay, and you've got it here in Waihi?
Yeah, well, I think it's pretty achievable all around the country as long as people actually focus on the soil first and getting that right.
Okay. You talk about the soil. How important are other parts of producing the meat?
Well, the soil's number one to start with, because if you put in full nutrition, you don't get sick animals. And if you don't get sick animals, you don't have to drench them, you don't have to use chemicals, you don't have to inoculate them. They go through a life very happy and healthy, and I mean it makes for happy farming as well, for happy customers. Yeah.
Okay, so the end result's great for yourself and for the consumer.
Absolutely. I mean, it's amazing what we've found out, and it's been confirmed by other people doing similar things. It's like there's over 100% more omega-3 in our meat than there is in standard New Zealand beef, and it's that the only fish that's higher than that is Atlantic salmon. So from having good healthy pastures full of natural fats and oils, they take that into the animals when they're available to the consumer. The meat tends to have a lot less fat in it. We found about 65 to 70% less fat, total saturated fat. So you can actually eat healthily all round. There's nothing wrong with red meat, it's just how it's farmed and produced.
Okay. And are you still working on new ways to even improve it more?
Oh, absolutely. I mean, nothing ever sits still. I'm doing some work on fungal mycelium, which live in the soil and are the nutrient diffusers around the soil at the moment, and pretty fascinating stuff.
Okay.
So, no, nothing ever sits still.
Okay. Can we expect to see any more stores or anything, Ewan?
Well, not at present, but like in the future, there's lots more farmers using this sort of information,
Okay.
and only too willing to get on board and do more stuff like this. I think the biggest challenge is that the consumer actually really needs to know what's going on. There's factors like we've gone through with toxicity, issues with DDT. It's got a half-life of 42 years, which means if it was put on 42 years ago, half of it will still be here. So, and that has a major function in stopping phosphate availability and nutrient for the plants and the animals, and that was actually sponsored by the government. So there's issues that are, major things that need to be sorted out. There's other issues that a lot of cadmium used available in a lot of the phosphate fertilisers, and that's all linked to ADD and ADHD, bipolar schizophrenia.
Okay. How aware are the public of these?
They're not aware at all. Then the information is not available to the public.
Okay. So you're set about changing both the palate of people and educating them on the side effects.
Yeah, I think that's the reality of the situation, is that if farmers are actually going to become profitable again and the consumers are going to become healthy, that's what you have to do.
Okay, thank you for your time.